The hand I was using to scroll through my phone while leaning against the headboard paused for a moment. When did the company assign her a male assistant without me knowing? A pretty hard-working young guy. He held a reflector board for me all afternoon today. His arms were shaking, but he still insisted he wasn't tired. It was kind of amusing. She chuckled after saying that, tossed the cotton pad into the trash, then got up, grabbed her pajamas, and walked toward the bathroom. I watched her close the door, and suddenly something felt off. Whenever Callista chatted with me, it was always about which director invited her to dinner or which actress was acting like a diva. Since when did she start talking to me about some insignificant assistant? The sound of running water came from the bathroom. I dialed Jordan's number. Chapter 01. Jordan was Callista's agent, and also someone I had placed by her side. Callista didn't know about this. Not to spy on her. Over the past 3 years, Callista really hadn't given me any trouble. She worked seriously when filming, didn't wander around or make random friends, and came home when she was supposed to. Once, I went on a business trip for half a month. She called me on video every night on time, and sometimes she would fall asleep on the other end of the screen while we were still talking. I'm a reasonable man about most things, but there's one rule: there can't be any questionable men around my woman. That's my bottom line, non-negotiable. When did the company assign Callista a male assistant? There was a brief pause on the other end. Theodore, I was just about to tell you about this. Jordan explained the situation. It wasn't arranged by the company. Callista herself had taken a liking to an intern assistant named Adrian on set. He had originally been assigned to someone else, but she insisted on transferring him. Jordan refused, so she went directly to the general manager and got it approved. Jordan paused, then added, Theodore, you know, the madam is now a top-tier star in the company. I understood what he meant. At her current status, if she wanted someone, even an agent couldn't stop her. Last year, I secretly spent $30 million to buy her a Best Newcomer award. It was just meant to make her happy. I didn't expect her to start seeing herself as a big shot because of it. What's Adrian's background? Junior college graduate. Did sales before. No real background. Just good looking and smooth talking. Keep a close eye on him. I don't want any shady people getting close to her. Understood. After hanging up, the sound of water was still running in the bathroom. She said, the company assigned him to me, but in reality, she was the one who wanted him. A small matter, yet two different versions of the story. A few days later, one evening, after we had just been intimate, Callista curled up in my arms, her fingers tracing circles on my chest. Let me tell you something funny. That new assistant actually said he wants to be best friend of the opposite sex. Isn't that ridiculous? She looked up at me, her eyes carrying a hint of smug amusement. Honey, if he really becomes my friend, you wouldn't mind, right? I set my phone aside and glanced at her. 3 years ago, she was still a nobody actress, unable to even land a role with lines. I was the one who poured resources into her and built her up step by step to where she is now. And now she was telling me she wanted a best friend of the opposite sex. I mind, I said. Fire him. Callista froze for a moment, then quickly said, he was just saying that himself. I didn't agree. He was just joking. You're not mad, are you? Honey, I'm not joking. Seeing that I wasn't smiling, her eyes darted around. Then she looked up at me again. All right. He's just a little errand-running assistant. That best friend of the opposite sex thing was just nonsense he made up. How could I possibly take it seriously? If you don't like it, I won't bring it up anymore. Okay. I pinched her nose lightly. Don't bring it up again. MHM. She smiled and kissed me. You're the best, honey. Chapter 02. The next day, I had Jordan compile Adrian's information and send it over. Then I forwarded it to a private investigator, Amias, and asked him to dig into the guy thoroughly. Over the next few days, I noticed several new additions in Callista's wardrobe, styles she never used to wear before. Off-shoulder dresses, cinched waists, brighter colors. Even her perfume had changed, sweeter than the one she used before. Her figure had always been good, 172 centimeters tall, slim waist, long legs, and a face that perfectly matched my taste. I was drawn to her the first time I saw her. After all these years, I still found her beautiful every time I looked at her. But there were plenty of beautiful people in Hengdian. It wasn't like she was the only one. There were even better-looking ones. Without backing and resources, who could ever make it? One morning, she walked out of the bedroom in a burgundy dress, spun around, and asked me if it looked good. I said it did. With her looks and figure, anyone would take a second glance. No wonder someone had set their sights on her. 2 days later, Callista came home from work carrying a bag and excitedly handed it to me. Honey, this is for you. I opened it, a deep blue suit. The fabric felt excellent. The craftsmanship was refined. I checked the label, an Italian luxury brand's custom piece. Not cheap, close to 200,000. What's with the sudden gift? A couple of days ago I had dinner with the brand, and I browsed their new collection. I saw this and thought it would suit you perfectly. So I ordered it. She took the suit out and held it up against me. Try it on. I think the color really compliments you. I went to change and stood in front of the mirror afterward. It did look good. Callista hugged me from behind, resting her chin on my shoulder, smiling at my reflection. You look so handsome in this, honey. At that moment, my heart softened a little. I thought maybe I had been overthinking things lately. Maybe she was still the same as before. I turned around, pulled her into my arms, and kissed her on the forehead. The next afternoon, while I was at the company, Amy's report came in, a background file, along with a set of surveillance photos. Adrian, 24 years old, junior college graduate from a small county town, previously worked in sales for 2 years before his company went bankrupt. Average education, average experience, good looking, currently earning less than $10,000 a month, but what he wore and used clearly exceeded that level. A watch on his wrist worth nearly $10,000. The source of his money was still unknown. No inappropriate behavior with Callista so far, but frequent work interactions. Callista was noticeably nicer to him than to others. Then came the photos. I flipped through them one by one. When I reached the last few, my fingers stopped. Adrian was wearing a deep blue suit, identical to the one I had worn last night. Same brand, same style, same color. In one of the photos, I zoomed in. Callista was standing on her tiptoes, adjusting his tie. The gesture was far too intimate. That night, when I got home, I walked to the wardrobe, took out the suit, and threw it, bag and all, into the trash. When Callista came back and saw the bag next to the trash can, she froze for a moment. Honey, why is this? I don't like it anymore. Huh? But didn't you say it looked good yesterday? People change. She looked at my expression, as if she wanted to say something, but held back. After a while, she cautiously moved closer and took my hand. Honey, are you feeling unwell? Or is something bothering you at work? You can tell me. I didn't pull my hand away, but I didn't respond either. Then how about I pick another style for you? No need, I said. And don't casually buy clothes for other men in the future. Her fingers shrank back slightly. Oh, okay. Her voice softened a lot. That night, she behaved especially obediently, pouring me water, massaging my shoulders, even saying she wanted to cook for me the next day. I didn't refuse, but I didn't say much either. After she fell asleep, I picked up the phone on her bedside table. Its password was still my birthday. She had never changed it, and installed a syncing app. I hadn't planned to go this far in the beginning. She was the one who wore down my patience step by step. Chapter 03. On Friday afternoon, my assistant told me there was an important project to negotiate in Singapore next week. The meeting was set at a hotel in Haitong Bay. It was actually just half a day's work, sign some papers, have a meal, but the location was nice. I figured I'd bring Callista along and treat the remaining 2.5 days as a vacation. It had been a while since we'd gone out together. That night when I got home, I told her, we're going to Singapore next Tuesday. I've got half a day of work, and then we'll stay there for 2 days, walk by the beach, relax a bit. Callista didn't react with the excitement I expected. She hesitated, then wrapped her arms around mine, her tone apologetic. Honey, I might not be able to get away next Tuesday. There's a really important arrangement. What arrangement? Well, there's a scene that needs to be rushed. The director said I have to be there those days. She looked at my expression and quickly added, how about you go first, and I'll make it up to you when you come back. Okay. I looked at her. Back then, she said she wanted to act, to stand on the big screen. I thought as long as she was happy, that was enough. So I invested money behind the scenes, bought shares in a small talent agency, and built everything around promoting her. It was meant to be just for fun, a young girl with a dream of being a star. Let her have it. But after 3 years, she had taken it more and more seriously. So seriously that she believed she had gotten where she was purely on her own merit. So seriously that filming had become more important than going on vacation with me. I spent money to build her a dream. Now that dream had become her excuse to refuse me. All right, then focus on your work, I said, my tone unchanged. Callista let out a sigh of relief and kissed me on the cheek. You're the best, honey. Once I'm done, I'll definitely make it up to you. I smiled. After she went to take a shower, I called Jordan, planning to have him adjust Callista's schedule for next week, since it was just about catching up on progress. Maybe the director could shift it by a couple of days. Jordan paused on the other end. Theodore, Callista took leave for next Tuesday. Said she had personal matters. Leave? Yes. She applied the day before yesterday. She doesn't have any filming scheduled for those days. I said nothing, thinking I was considering something. Jordan added, oh, Theodore, there's one more thing. Last week, Callista promoted Adrian exceptionally to a level 1 assistant. Same rank as Ariel. Adrian's only been here a little over a month. The rest of his batch haven't even passed probation yet. Got it. After hanging up, I opened the sync chat records on my phone. The latest messages. Adrian, Callista, are you really coming for my birthday on Tuesday? I booked a really nice place. After that we can go sing and relax. You've been too tired lately. Callista, if I said I'm coming, I'm coming. Stop nagging. Adrian, then I'll arrange everything for that day. You just show up without worrying. Callista, okay. I've cleared my schedule for that day. She told me that next Tuesday there was an important scene that needed to be rushed. She told the company she had personal matters and took leave. Her plan with Adrian's birthday came before all of that. 3 versions of the same story, told to 3 different people. She agreed to Adrian's dinner first, then she took leave from the company, and finally, she made up an excuse about filming to tell me. Now I knew exactly where I stood in her priorities. Callista came out of the shower, her hair still damp. She sat beside me, hooking her arm around mine. Honey, don't be upset about Singapore. Next time I'll definitely go with you. I'm not upset, I said. Then I'll just follow the original plan. 3 days for the business trip. If you were going, I'd finish things in half a day. Since you're not, I'll take my time. Her eyes curved into a smile. You're the best. Honey, thanks for working so hard. I'll make it up to you when you're back. All right. I patted her head. 3 days. That's enough. Chapter 04. When I woke up early Monday morning, Callista was already out of bed. I walked to the dining area and saw pan-seared cod, an avocado salad, a bowl of bird's nest porridge, and a cup of freshly brewed coffee laid out on the table. The housemaid stood awkwardly at the kitchen door, wiping her hands. Clearly, Callista had pushed her out. Callista peeked out from the kitchen wearing an apron. Honey, come sit. Eat while it's hot. She never cooked. We had a housemaid, and she barely even knew which side the kitchen door was on. I knew exactly what this was about. Why are you cooking yourself today? Just wanted to make something for you. She sat across from me, resting her chin on her hand as she watched me eat. Is it good? Not bad. She looked as happy as if she had just won an award. After breakfast, she helped me pack my suitcase, folding my shirts neatly and even slipping in a box of snacks she liked, saying she was afraid I'd get hungry on the way. When she walked me to the door, she stood on her tiptoes and kissed my forehead. Honey, come back early. I wrapped an arm around her waist. Be good. She smiled and nudged me. Go on, or you'll miss your flight. As the car drove out of the neighborhood, I saw her still standing at the entrance waving at me in the rearview mirror. After getting in the car, I called the investigator. Amias. The photos from last time, the ones where she's fixing that guy's tie. Send them to an entertainment reporter. Post them this afternoon. Amias asked, anonymous or credited. Handle it. This was her last chance. If she could stop after seeing the news, I'd let it go. 3 hours later, the plane landed. When I turned on my phone, the screen stayed lit for a long time as messages flooded in. 4 missed calls from Jordan, 3 from Callista, a sea of unread messages on WeChat. I didn't check them. I called Jordan back directly. As soon as he picked up, he said, Theodore. This afternoon an entertainment account suddenly posted photos of Callista, caught her adjusting Adrian's clothes. The caption made it sound very suggestive. Callista asked me to suppress it, but that reporter won't budge. I couldn't take it down, and Callista yelled at me. He paused. Theodore, about this, don't worry. I'll think of another way. It's nothing, I said. Not a big deal. If it can't be suppressed, then leave it. Jordan was clearly stunned. It's just a photo of her fixing someone's clothes. She just needs to be more careful. Oh, all right. After hanging up, I opened the sync chat records first. A message from Adrian 2 hours ago. Adrian, Callista, I saw what's online. I told you I didn't need that outfit that day, but you insisted I try it. Now it's caused you trouble. I'm really sorry. Callista, it's fine. It has nothing to do with you. The reporters just took random shots. Adrian, but your husband won't be angry, right? Should I go explain to President Torres? Callista, no, I'll handle things on my side. Don't worry. Adrian, that's good. Callista, you're really too good to me. Callista, all right. Stop being dramatic, haha. Just focus on your work. She would handle her side, meaning me. I closed the chat and opened the messages Callista had sent me. Honey, have you arrived? Don't believe anything online. That day was just a brand event. Adrian has a similar build to yours, so I had him try it on for you to see how the fit looked. I only bought one set, the one I gave you. I just let him try it on. Honey, are you there? Don't ignore me. Only one set. When the investigator sent that photo earlier, I had already asked Jordan to check. Same brand, same model, 2 orders placed, 2 sets of clothes, but she told me she bought only one. I replied, just landed. Saw it now. It's nothing. Reporters just making things up. I know you. She replied instantly. Honey, you're the best. I knew you'd trust me. I gave her a chance. She chose not to take it. Around 8 p.m., Callista called again. Her voice was much lighter, as if she had completely put her mind at ease. Honey, I want to tell you something. After filming tomorrow, it happens to be Dorothea's birthday. I want to go have dinner with her to celebrate. Oh, who's going? Just me and Dorothea. A simple meal. All right. Go ahead. Come back early. Good night. Honey. Love you. Good night. After hanging up, I called my assistant. Move tomorrow's signing to 9 a.m. Book a 2 p.m. flight. I'm going back. Chapter 05. The contract was signed at 9 a.m. on Tuesday and wrapped up at 10:30. The client insisted on keeping me for lunch, so I stayed. We chatted and laughed through the meal, nothing delayed, nothing out of place. My flight was at 2 p.m. On the plane, I went over the chat records from the past 2 days again. Callista and Dorothea. Dorothea, so how are you planning to celebrate your little simp's birthday tomorrow? Callista, let's go to Violet Club. I've booked the Blue Sky Lounge. Dorothea, all right. I'm coming too. I want to see just how obedient this simp of yours really is. Callista, don't talk nonsense. Okay, don't say anything inappropriate in front of him. Dorothea, relax, relax. By the way, does your husband know? Callista, he's on a business trip in Singapore, 3 days. I told him I'm celebrating your birthday. Dorothea, using me as a cover. Fine, fine, what are sisters for? But honestly, your husband is always busy. Having a simp who dotes on you isn't so bad. Don't feel guilty about it. Callista, what guilt? Adrian and I are just normal friends. Dorothea, normal friends. Then why hide it from your husband? Stop pretending. I get it. Callista and Adrian. Adrian, Callista. I checked out the Blue Sky Lounge at Violet Club for tomorrow night. The sound system is great. Callista, I've already booked it. Happy birthday. Adrian, just being able to celebrate with you makes me happy. Callista, Dorothea will be there too. It'll be livelier. What do you want to drink? I'll have them prepare it in advance. Adrian, anything's fine. I'll go with whatever you choose. All the information was right there. Adrian, Dorothea. Blue Sky Lounge at Violet Club. I landed at 5:30 p.m. The driver, Tom, was already waiting at the exit. He had been my bodyguard for 8 years, 6'1", former armed police. President Torres, heading home. No, to Violet Club. Tom glanced at me through the rearview mirror but didn't ask anything. He turned the wheel. We arrived at Violet Club at 6:40. I didn't go in right away. I stayed in the car for a while. At 7:15, I got out and walked into the lobby. The lobby manager recognized me and came over to greet me, but I raised a hand to stop him. Which way to Blue Sky Lounge? End of the corridor. Then left the last room. I walked down the corridor. Even from a distance, I could hear noise from the private room. The sound system was on. Someone was singing. Off key. It was Callista. At the door. It wasn't fully closed, just slightly ajar. On the way over, the detective Amias had sent a new update. Adrian's resume said he worked at a foreign trade company for a year, but in reality, during that time, he had been working as a male host at a club in City A. No wonder the meeting was set at a club. This was his home turf. I stood by the door and glanced inside. The lighting in the room was dim. The coffee table was covered with bottles, 2 open bottles of champagne, along with several spirits. The 3 of them had clearly drunk quite a bit. Adrian stood in the center, dancing. His jacket was already off, leaving only a tight black tank top. He wasn't just swaying casually, he had real technique, hitting the beat, movements sharp and controlled. When he turned, he deliberately lifted the hem of his tank top, revealing a strip of toned muscle along his waist. A former club host. After all, this was his old trade. Chapter 6. Callista curled up on the sofa, her cheeks flushed red, holding a glass in her hand, laughing as she slapped her thigh. Again. Dorothea shrieked and clapped beside her. After finishing his dance, Adrian came back and dropped himself right next to Callista. Callista grabbed a tissue to wipe the sweat from his forehead. You're crazy, she said, but her hand rested on his shoulder and didn't move away. Dorothea shook the dice cup. Come on, let's play dice. Loser downs a drink. The 3 of them started drinking competitively. Adrian lost a round and had just picked up his glass when Callista reached out and stopped him. It's his birthday today, no penalties. I'll drink for him. She tilted her head back and drained the glass in one go. Dorothea slammed the table. Callista, you're even taking drinks for him, and you still tell me there's nothing going on. It's just something friends do. Don't make a big deal out of it. Friends. Dorothea, emboldened by alcohol, leaned closer to Adrian and reached out to touch his abs. If you're just friends, then you won't mind if he keeps me company tonight, right? Adrian, I'll book you. Callista slapped her hand away. What are you doing? Dorothea pulled her hand back, laughing so hard she collapsed into the sofa. Ha ha ha. Look at you. And you still say there's nothing. Your reaction was faster than anyone's. Callista froze for a second, realizing she had overreacted. Her face flushed even deeper. I was just afraid you'd do something reckless while drunk. Sure, whatever you say. Dorothea jerked her chin toward Adrian. Adrian, you tell me, isn't she protective of you? Adrian lowered his head, his ears reddening. Callista's always been really good to me. Callista picked up her glass and drank, not responding, but her hand drifted back onto Adrian's shoulder again. After a few more rounds, Dorothea was completely drunk, slumped awkwardly while scrolling on her phone. Adrian peeled an orange for Callista, handing her each segment one by one to her lips. Callista opened her mouth and ate naturally, as if this had happened many times before. Callista had drunk too much. Her whole body leaned toward Adrian, her head resting on his shoulder. Callista, as long as you're happy. Adrian looked down at her. His arm slipped around, resting on Callista's waist. She didn't move. I took out my phone and snapped a photo through the crack of the door. Then I pushed the door open. Chapter 7. The moment the door was pushed open, the music happened to switch tracks, and the private room fell silent for 2 seconds. All three of them turned to look at me at the same time. Callista's hand was still resting on Adrian's shoulder. The instant she saw me, it jerked away like she'd been electrocuted, and she sprang up from the sofa. Honey, why are you back? Adrian's face went pale. He instinctively shifted away. Dorothea nearly dropped her phone. Tom stood behind me. I didn't look at them at first. I scanned the room, the bottles, the dice cup, Adrian's jacket tossed on the sofa, the tissue Callista had used to wipe his sweat on the table. I walked in, sat down on the sofa opposite Callista, picked up an unopened bottle of mineral water, twisted it open, and took a sip. Wasn't this supposed to be Dorothea's birthday? I glanced at the cake. Happy birthday, Adrian. Did Dorothea change her name? Callista's lips trembled. Honey, I can explain. No rush, I said. Turn the music back on. Don't waste the room fee. No one moved. Dorothea was the first to react. She grabbed her bag and stood up. I'll head out first. You guys talk. Sit. I didn't raise my head. My tone wasn't heavy, but her legs gave out anyway, and she sat back down. I looked at Callista. You told me you were celebrating Dorothea's birthday. Just the two of you. I asked who else would be there. You said only you two. She couldn't speak. You told the company you had personal matters. Told me you had to rush filming progress. I asked you to come to Singapore with me. You said you couldn't leave. You used Dorothea as a cover. Told her I'd be on a 3-day business trip in Singapore so she didn't have to worry. Callista's face turned paler and paler. Do I need to keep going? The room was so quiet that only the hum of the air conditioner remained. I thought Callista would break down and apologize. Instead, she suddenly lifted her head, her tone changing. Theodore, can you be reasonable? I'm just making a friend. I have my own career now. You can't control everything I do. I'm not your possession. I looked at her. Did I ever stop you from filming? From taking endorsements? From becoming a star? She froze. You've got it wrong, Callista. I've never opposed you having a career. What I oppose is you lying to me, hiding things from me, refusing to come to Singapore with me, and instead coming here to celebrate another man's birthday. She opened her mouth, but no words came out. Adrian, fueled by a night of drinking, mustered the courage to stand up and rush toward me. President Torres, if you've got a problem, take it out on me. Don't scare her. Before he could finish, Tom stepped forward from behind and kicked him square in the chest. Adrian was sent flying into the coffee table. Bottles toppled over, one shattering. That single kick sobered him instantly. He clutched his chest on the ground and looked up at Tom, 6'1", expressionless, standing there like a wall. Adrian's eyes changed, not pain, fear. Only then did he realize that what he had provoked was not some ordinary businessman husband. President Torres. I was wrong. His voice trembled, completely different from the earlier, don't scare her, please. I won't dare again. Dorothea shrank into the corner, speaking shakily. President Torres, let it go. We all drank too much. It's all a misunderstanding. I turned my head and looked at her. Just one look, and she shut her mouth, not daring to say another word. Adrian lay on the ground, suddenly lifting his head, pointing at Callista, his voice sharp. President Torres, she's the one who approached me. She insisted on bringing me here. She bought my clothes. She booked the club. It has nothing to do with me. Callista stood there, watching the men who had just tried to stand up for her moments ago now sell her out piece by piece. Her hands dropped to her sides. She looked completely drained. The room fell silent for a few seconds. I stood up, adjusted my cuffs, and looked at Callista. Move out tomorrow. I glanced at the 3 people in the room, then turned and walked away without looking back. Chapter 8. By the time I got home, it was almost midnight. I sat on the sofa in the living room, poured myself a glass of whiskey, and drank it slowly. A little past 1, Callista came back. Her hair was a mess, her makeup completely smeared. Tears and alcohol stains mixed together on her face. Her dress was soaked with spilled drinks, clinging to her body. When she saw me sitting in the living room, she froze for a moment, then walked over carefully, her voice trembling with sobs. Honey. I didn't respond. I took another sip of whiskey, not looking at her. She crouched down in front of me, placing both hands on my knees, tilting her face up to look at me. Her eyes were swollen red like walnuts. Honey, I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. I'll fire Adrian tomorrow. I'll never see him again. I swear. I won't get close to any other man ever again. Can you forgive me this once? As she spoke, she leaned toward me, trying to snuggle into my arms like she used to. Acting spoiled, I shifted slightly. She missed and nearly fell to the ground. Honey, she tried to come closer again. I pushed a folder on the coffee table toward her. She lowered her head to look, and her entire body froze. Divorce agreement. The lawyer had prepared it 3 days ago. No, honey, no. She suddenly looked up, grabbing my hand as tears streamed down in large drops. Let's not get divorced. Okay, I really know I was wrong. Give me one more chance. You said before you'd love me for a lifetime. There's really nothing between Adrian and me. I was just confused for a moment. She hugged my leg tightly, refusing to let go. Honey, I'm begging you. Don't divorce me. I can't live without you. Without you, I'm nothing. I looked down at her. 3 years ago, she was still a minor extra, filming in the freezing winter, wearing a thin costume and shivering on set. When I passed by, she smiled at me, her eyes curved, bright and stubborn like a little sun. That one smile moved me. I lifted her out of the mud and placed her in the clouds. Now she knelt in front of me, using that same smile to try to coax me, but there wasn't a single ripple in my heart. Callista, I pried her hands off me. The first time, you told me the company assigned you a male assistant. I checked. It wasn't assigned by the company. You wanted him yourself. Her lips trembled. The second time, you told me he wanted to be your best friend of the opposite sex. I said I minded. Told you to fire him. You said you hadn't agreed and told me not to be angry. She nodded frantically. Yes, I was wrong. And then you bought him the same suit as mine, adjusted his tie for him, took leave to celebrate his birthday, and lied to me saying it was Dorothea's party. I looked at her. How many chances did I give you? She knelt on the ground, unable to say a word. Chapter 9. 24 hours. I placed the pen beside the agreement. Sign it and leave it on the coffee table. I took my glass and went to the study, closing the door behind me. From the other side came the sound of her suppressed sobs, muffled in her throat, one after another. The next morning, when I stepped out of the study, I smelled food. Callista stood in the kitchen wearing an apron. When she saw me, she quickly brought the dishes to the table. Silver cod, avocado salad, bird's nest porridge, exactly the same as the meal she made the day she sent me off on my business trip. Her hair was tied into a messy bun, no makeup, dark circles under her eyes. She clearly hadn't slept all night. Honey, I made your favorite breakfast. Come sit, eat while it's hot. Her voice was hoarse, forcing out a smile. I glanced at the dishes, then said to the housekeeper beside me, Lisa, please make another set. The housekeeper Lisa looked at me, then at Callista. She didn't dare say anything and turned into the kitchen. Callista's hands trembled as she held the plate. Honey, didn't you used to love the breakfasts I made? That was because I loved you. I sat down and picked up my phone. You know your cooking level yourself. I just didn't have the heart to say it before. But now, I didn't love her anymore. She slowly slid down against the edge of the table, sitting on the floor as tears dripped onto her apron. After finishing the breakfast Lisa made, I said, pack up Miss Callista's personal belongings. Have them delivered to her this afternoon. Callista suddenly looked up. Theodore, take your jewelry with you. Clothes and personal items, have them packed before this afternoon. I glanced at the coffee table. The agreement was still blank. The pen hadn't been moved. I walked onto the balcony and made a call, not to Jordan. Mr. Lopez, this is Theodore Torres. Good morning, President Torres. All of Callista's work, stop everything immediately. Replace her in the current production. Terminate all brand endorsements. Cancel every scheduled appearance. There was a brief silence on the other end. Understood, President Torres. I'll arrange it right away. After hanging up, I turned and glanced back into the living room. Callista was still sitting on the floor, hugging her knees, her face buried in her arms. The breakfast she had spent all night making sat on the table, untouched. Chapter 10. At a little past 2 p.m., Jordan called. His voice carried a hint of panic. Theodore, something big happened. All of Callista's work has suddenly been shut down. The female lead in director Zhang's drama she was filming has been replaced on the spot. 3 brand endorsements terminated their contracts on the same day. Even the variety show she already recorded cut out all her footage. I went to ask Mr. Lopez, but he's not picking up my calls. People at the company are avoiding me too. Theodore, what's going on? Is someone targeting Callista? I'll go investigate right now. No need. I cut him off. I told Mr. Lopez to do it. Jordan froze, silent for a long moment. After a while, he carefully asked, Theodore, did something happen between you and Callista? Jordan had been with me for 8 years. There were things he didn't dare ask, but he wasn't stupid. We're preparing for divorce. Jordan fell silent for a few seconds. Theodore, Callista has been making calls all morning. Directors, producers, brand representatives. Dozens of calls. Hardly anyone picked up. And those who did hung up after a few words. She's locked herself in her room now, not eating or drinking. Got it. Not long after I hung up, the front desk called through the internal line. President Torres, there's a Ms. Callista here asking to see you. She hasn't been to the company before, so we're not sure. Let her come up. 2 minutes later, Callista pushed open the office door. She had changed into a simple t-shirt and jeans. No makeup. Her face was pale, the dark circles under her eyes even more pronounced. She looked thinner, as if she had lost weight overnight. She didn't rush over crying like last night. Instead, she stood at the door, looking at me. Her voice was flat, with a slight tremble. Theodore, was this you? It was. Her body swayed, and she grabbed the doorframe for support. Why? That Best Newcomer award you got at the Golden Film Awards, $30 million in PR expenses. From the judges to the press releases, it was all arranged by me. Did you know that? Callista's lips moved, but she didn't speak. That drama that made you famous. South City Memories, the investor was a fund under my name. The script was tailored specifically for you. The director and supporting cast were all chosen by me. You thought the director picked you because of your acting. Her fingers tightened against the doorframe. Those endorsements you have, how many brands came to you on their own? They're all companies under me. I told them to sign you, so they did. I tell them to withdraw, and with one call, everything disappears the same day. I poured $1 billion into making your dream of becoming a star come true, lifting you from an unknown extra to a top-tier celebrity. And you took the money I spent on you to go find another man, to lie to me, to cross my bottom line. Chapter 11. Callista leaned against the doorframe, the color draining from her face bit by bit. Her lips trembled, but no sound came out. Suddenly, she walked over and dropped to her knees in front of my desk. I was wrong. Theodore, I was really wrong. I won't act anymore. I don't want anything. I'll just stay at home and take care of you. Okay. I've given you chances, more than once. She knelt there crying, her whole body shaking. I let her cry for a while before speaking again. I'll give you one last chance to leave with dignity. She lifted her head to look at me. Your brother Lucas is the general manager of my Natick subsidiary. His annual salary and bonuses add up to several million. The accounts he handled, how many of them are unclear? You might not know, but I do. I lit a cigarette and took a drag. Just last year, he submitted 5 entertainment expense claims totaling over $3 million, all fake. He embezzled company funds to buy himself a car and a house, amounting to over $10 million. He's also taken quite a bit in kickbacks using company resources. All of it is recorded in the company accounts. Every transaction, I can see it clearly. Before, you were my wife and he was my brother-in-law. I didn't pursue it. Callista's tears stopped. The sorrow on her face turned into fear. Theodore, you can't. He's my real brother. Before, we were family, so I could let it go. But we're getting divorced. Once we are, he's no longer my brother-in-law. What he's done is enough to put him in prison. Callista knelt there, trembling like a leaf. Sign now. Leave with nothing. Lucas resigns quietly, and I won't pursue the money he took. It'll be as if nothing ever happened. As for your parents, just say the marriage didn't work out, part on good terms. If you don't sign. I didn't finish the sentence, but she understood. Callista knelt there in silence for a long time, so long I thought she wouldn't sign. Finally, she reached out and picked up the pen on the desk. Her hand trembled badly. The signature came out crooked, but she signed it, leaving with nothing. She put the pen down, stood up, and staggered toward the door. Her hand rested on the doorknob for a moment. She didn't turn back. Theodore, did you ever love me? I looked at her back. Her hair was loose, her shoulders still trembling, so thin the t-shirt barely held its shape. I did. Otherwise, what do you think that billion was for? She pushed the door open and walked out. Footsteps echoed in the hallway, one by one, fading into the distance. I turned my chair and looked out the window. The divorce agreement lay open on the desk. Next to her signature were 2 drops of water, her tears, not yet dry. Chapter 12. The afternoon Callista signed the papers. I had headquarters issue a personnel order removing Lucas from his position as general manager of the Natick subsidiary. Half an hour later, there were 4 missed calls on my phone, all from Lucas. I glanced at them and blocked his number. The next day, the front desk called to say Callista was downstairs. Security wouldn't let her in, and she refused to leave, just standing at the entrance. I told them to ignore her. On the 3rd day, she came again and stood there the entire day. That evening, I called Callista's mother, told her about the divorce, and asked her to take Callista back. I didn't explain the details, just said it was a relationship issue and that we were parting on good terms. On the 4th day, Callista didn't show up. I called Jordan. Come back to headquarters. You don't need to stay at the entertainment company anymore. Next month, you'll transfer to the investment department, vice president. Jordan paused on the other end. He had followed me for 8 years. He had never asked why I assigned him to the entertainment company to keep an eye on Callista, nor had he ever complained. Theodore, madam, he paused, corrected himself. Miss Callista's resources, her dramas, her endorsements, they're all mine. Jordan fell silent for 2 seconds, as if finally confirming something he had suspected for a long time. You built all of it. These past 3 years, you've worked hard. Theodore, it's my duty. After hanging up with Jordan, I called the detective Amias. How's Adrian doing? After that night at the club, he ran off, gave up his rental. Hasn't shown up at the company since. I kept an eye on him for a while. Turns out he fled to a neighboring city and is laying low there. That's it. Not exactly, Amias said. He hasn't changed. In the new place, he's already started flirting with wealthy women again. Recently, he got involved with one. Her husband's name is Randy. He's in construction. Handles several major projects in South City. Not an ordinary man. Adrian doesn't know. He's an outsider. How would he know? Probably thinks he's found another easy target. Also, President Torres. He wasn't clean back in college either. He dated 3 or 4 girls at the same time, all from wealthy families. One of them was scammed out of over $100,000 and nearly jumped off a building. After graduation, his resume claimed he worked at a foreign trade company for a year, but in reality, he was working as a male host at a club in his hometown. Later, he polished his image, got into an entertainment company as an assistant, changed his approach, but not his nature. I thought for a moment. Amias, compile all this information into a file and send it to me. Understood. When do you need it? Tomorrow. The next day, I called Jordan and had him deliver a USB drive to Randy. Don't say anything. Just one sentence. Mr. Chen will understand once he sees it. Jordan didn't ask why. Got it. Chapter 13. 3 days later, Jordan called. His tone was a little subtle. Theodore, there's movement on Randy's side. Go on. The same night he watched the USB, he brought people to block Adrian. I didn't ask for the details, but Adrian disappeared the next day. Word is he was sent to Southeast Asia. Randy has construction projects over there, on paper. It's overseas labor dispatch. I lifted my teacup and took a sip. Also, all of Adrian's dirt got exposed online last night. The stuff about scamming girls in college. Photos of him working as a club host, it's all out. The comments are full of people cursing him. Jordan paused. By the way, about Callista. I heard she went back to her hometown. She's doing live stream sales now. Hardly anyone's watching. A top-tier actress, a Best Newcomer winner. At her peak, her endorsements were booked 3 months out. Now she was back in her hometown, live streaming to single-digit viewers. I didn't respond. Anything else? No, Theodore. After hanging up, the office fell silent. I picked up my phone and scrolled. There was a message on WeChat, sent by Callista 3 days ago. I hadn't opened it. Her profile picture was still from the day she won the Best Newcomer award. A red dress, a bright, radiant smile. I looked at it for a second, didn't open it. Long pressed, deleted the chat. The screen went dark. A moment later, it lit up again. A message from Randy, with a photo. In the photo, Adrian wore filthy work clothes, standing in front of a row of tin sheds. His face was bruised, his eyes hollow as he stared at the camera. Behind him was the gate of some industrial compound in Southeast Asia. I zoomed in, took a closer look, then exited and placed the phone face down on the desk. I told you not to go looking for opposite-sex friends. You just had to push me into sending him off to work in a compound.